Imagine this. A little girl, just 3 years old, on vacation with her family in a beautiful resort. Everything is calm, peaceful, until one night she vanishes. And since that moment, no one has ever found her. The date, May 3rd, 2007. The place, Portugal. The girl, Madeleine McCann, from the UK. She was on holiday with her parents in a seaside resort called Praia da Luz. The evening of May 3rd, 2007 began like any other for the McCann family, who were on holiday in the picturesque seaside town of Praia da Luz, nestled along Portugal's Algarve coast. The sun had set, casting a gentle glow over the whitewashed apartment buildings and the winding cobblestone streets. Inside their holiday apartment, 3 young children, Madeleine and her younger twin siblings, were tucked into bed, their soft breathing the only sound in the dimly lit room. The air was still, the only movement the gentle flutter of curtains in the night breeze. For Kate and Jerry McCann, it was meant to be a relaxing evening, a chance to unwind with friends after a long day spent at the pool and beach, building sandcastles and chasing waves with their children. They had chosen this resort for its family-friendly atmosphere, its sense of safety, and the close proximity of their apartment to the tapas restaurant where they planned to dine. The decision to leave the children sleeping in the apartment, just a short walk away, was not made lightly. Like many other parents vacationing at the resort, they believed it was safe enough, especially since they would be checking on the children regularly throughout the evening. As the McCanns joined their friends at the tapas restaurant, just 50 meters away from their apartment, they tried to relax and enjoy the evening. But beneath the surface, there was a constant undercurrent of parental concern. Every 20 to 30 minutes, either Kate or Jerry would leave the table, quietly slipping out of the restaurant to walk the short path back to their apartment. Each time, they would peek in on the children, making sure Madeleine and the twins were still sound asleep, safe and undisturbed. The group of friends, all parents themselves, had adopted a similar routine, taking turns checking on their own children in nearby apartments. It was a system built on trust, familiarity, and the belief that nothing could possibly go wrong in such a tranquil, family-oriented place. The night air was filled with the sounds of distant laughter, the clatter of cutlery, and the occasional bark of a dog. The lights from the restaurant spilled out onto the patio, illuminating the faces of the parents as they chatted, but every so often their eyes would drift towards the windows of their apartments, just visible through the trees. But as the clock approached 10 p.m., the ordinary rhythm of the evening was shattered. Kate McCann rose from the table for her final check of the night, retracing her familiar steps along the quiet path to the apartment. She noticed the door was slightly ajar, a detail that sent a chill down her spine. Entering the bedroom, she was met with a scene that would haunt her forever. Madeleine's bed was empty, the covers thrown back, her favorite cuddle cat lying abandoned on the floor. In that instant, time seemed to stop. Panic surged through Kate as she frantically searched the apartment, calling out Madeleine's name, hoping against hope that her daughter had simply wandered into another room. But there was no sign of her. The realization hit with crushing force. Madeleine was gone. The nightmare that every parent dreads had become their reality. Within minutes, the resort was in chaos. Jerry rushed back from the restaurant, and friends and staff began searching every corner of the complex, their voices echoing through the night. The police were called, and soon the quiet holiday resort was transformed into the epicenter of a desperate search. For the McCanns, the world had changed in an instant. The sense of safety and normalcy had been shattered, replaced by fear, confusion, and an overwhelming sense of loss. The discovery of Madeleine's disappearance would mark the beginning of one of the most infamous missing persons cases in modern history. A case that would capture the attention of the world and leave a family forever changed. On a warm spring evening, the peaceful atmosphere of the coastal resort was shattered by the sudden arrival of police cars, their sirens piercing the night air. Blue and red lights flashed across the whitewashed walls and palm trees, casting eerie shadows as officers leapt from their vehicles, urgency written on their faces. The news had spread quickly. A child was missing, vanished without a trace from her family's holiday apartment. Within minutes, the resort, once filled with laughter and the gentle hum of vacationers, was transformed into the epicenter of a frantic search. Police officers, some in uniform and others in plain clothes, coordinated with local authorities, setting up a command post near the entrance. The gravity of the situation was clear. Every second counted. The officers moved swiftly, questioning staff, guests, and anyone who might have seen or heard something unusual. The resort's gates were closed, and a perimeter was established to prevent anyone from leaving or entering without being checked. The sense of urgency was palpable, as the first crucial hours in a missing child case are often the most important. The officers' radios crackled with updates, and the search began in earnest. As darkness settled over the resort, search teams fanned out in all directions, their flashlights cutting through the night. Police officers, resort staff, and volunteers from the local community joined forces, combing every inch of the grounds. They searched the swimming pools, playgrounds, and gardens, calling the child's name into the darkness, hoping for a response. The search quickly expanded beyond the resort's boundaries, into the surrounding woods and along the nearby coastline. Specially trained dogs were brought in, their handlers urging them to pick up any scent that might lead to the missing girl. The searchers moved methodically, checking under bushes, behind sheds, and in every possible hiding place. The local community, shocked by the news, rallied together, offering their help and support. Some brought food and water for the searchers, while others joined the search themselves, determined to do whatever they could to help. The atmosphere was tense, with everyone aware that time was slipping away. The search continued through the night, with teams rotating in and out to maintain their energy and focus. Despite their efforts, there was no sign of the missing child. Inside the apartment, forensic teams worked meticulously, searching for any clue that might explain the child's disappearance. They dusted for fingerprints on every surface, door handles, windowsills, and furniture, hoping to find evidence of an intruder. Investigators examined the windows and doors for signs of forced entry, but found nothing conclusive. The child's bedroom, now cordoned off with police tape, was eerily silent. Toys lay scattered on the bed, and a small blanket was folded neatly at the foot. There were no signs of a struggle, no overturned furniture, no broken glass. The investigators took photographs, collected samples, and carefully documented every detail, knowing that even the smallest piece of evidence could be crucial. They interviewed the family, trying to piece together a timeline of events leading up to the disappearance. The parents, distraught and exhausted, recounted the evening's events over and over, hoping to remember something, anything that might help. But as the hours passed, it became clear that the case was anything but straightforward. There were no fingerprints that didn't belong, no clear signs of a break-in, and no confirmed witnesses who had seen what happened. The mystery deepened and the sense of frustration grew. As word of the disappearance spread, rumors and speculation began to swirl. Some guests at the resort claimed they had seen a strange man carrying a child in the hours before the alarm was raised. One witness described seeing a figure, face obscured, hurrying down a dimly lit street with a small child in his arms. Another recalled a fleeting glimpse of a man on the resort's CCTV footage, walking quickly and looking over his shoulder. Police followed up on every lead, interviewing witnesses and reviewing hours of security camera footage. They canvassed the neighborhood, knocking on doors and asking residents if they had seen anything unusual. Some people reported seeing unfamiliar vehicles parked near the resort, while others mentioned hearing a car engine start up late at night. The police created composite sketches based on witness descriptions and distributed them to the public, hoping someone would recognize the man, but the accounts were inconsistent and none of the sightings could be confirmed. The investigation was hampered by the lack of clear evidence, and the police were forced to consider every possibility. Was the child taken by a stranger, or was someone closer to the family involved? The questions multiplied, but answers remained elusive. In the days that followed, the case dominated headlines around the world. News anchors reported live from outside the resort, their voices filled with urgency as they described the ongoing search. Missing person posters bearing the child's photograph and a desperate plea for information appeared on lampposts, shop windows, and social media feeds. The empty playground, once filled with the sounds of children playing, now stood as a stark reminder of what had been lost. The community held vigils, lighting candles and praying for the child's safe return. The police continued their investigation, following up on every tip and lead, but progress was slow. The case attracted the attention of international law enforcement agencies, who offered their expertise and resources. Despite the massive effort, there was still no solid evidence of who took the child or where she went. The investigation had only just begun, but already it was clear that this was no ordinary case. The mystery of the missing child would haunt the community and the world for years to come. The case exploded worldwide. Investigations opened in both Portugal and the United Kingdom, and suspicions fell on everyone, even her own parents. But honestly, nothing was ever proven. It has been more than 15 years since the world was first introduced to the haunting case of Madeleine McCann, a little girl whose disappearance from a holiday resort in Portugal sent shockwaves across continents. The image of Madeleine, with her bright eyes and innocent smile, has become a symbol of hope, heartbreak, and the relentless search for answers. Despite the passage of time, her story continues to captivate millions, drawing in new generations who wonder how a child could vanish without a trace in a world so connected, so watched, and so seemingly safe. The pain of her absence lingers not only for her family, but for all who have followed the case, hoping for a resolution that never seems to come. The night of May 3rd, 2007 began like any other for the McCann family. They were on holiday in the picturesque seaside town of Praia da Luz, Portugal, enjoying a much-needed break from their busy lives in the UK. Madeleine, just 3 years old, was tucked into bed alongside her younger twin siblings while her parents dined with friends at a nearby tapas restaurant. It was a routine many families on holiday followed, checking in on their sleeping children at regular intervals. But that night, something went terribly wrong. When Kate McCann returned to the apartment to check on her children, she discovered Madeleine's bed empty, the window open, and her daughter gone. In an instant, a family vacation turned into a nightmare, and the world would never be the same. The search for Madeleine began immediately, with local police, volunteers, and even tourists scouring the area for any sign of the missing girl. News of her disappearance spread rapidly, dominating headlines in the UK and quickly making international news. The McCanns made emotional appeals to the public, pleading for information and help. Candlelit vigils were held, and posters bearing Madeleine's face appeared in cities around the world. Yet despite the massive search effort, no trace of Madeleine was found. Theories began to swirl. Was she kidnapped by a stranger? Did someone close to the family know more than they were saying? Or was there a more sinister plot at play, one that would remain hidden beneath the surface? Investigators from both Portugal and the UK launched extensive inquiries, following up on dozens of leads and tips. The case became one of the most heavily reported missing person investigations in history, with detectives chasing down every possible clue. Forensic teams combed the apartment for evidence. Sniffer dogs were brought in, and the area was mapped out in painstaking detail. Yet, for every promising lead, there seemed to be a dead end. Suspects were questioned, alibis checked, and theories debated endlessly in the media. The pressure on the police was immense, and the scrutiny on the McCann family was relentless. Every move they made was analyzed, every word dissected, as the world searched for someone to blame. Over the years, the case has taken on a life of its own, spawning countless documentaries, books, and online forums dedicated to unraveling the mystery. Armchair detectives and professional investigators alike have pored over the details, constructing elaborate timelines and theories. Some believe Madeleine was abducted by a stranger, perhaps part of a larger criminal network. Others suspect a crime of opportunity or even an accident covered up in panic. Theories range from the plausible to the outlandish, but none have provided the closure so desperately sought by her family and the public. The case has become a touchstone for discussions about child safety, media responsibility, and the limits of modern policing. As the years have passed, the search for Madeleine has never truly ended. Her parents have refused to give up hope, commissioning age, progression, images, and working tirelessly to keep her story in the public eye. International efforts have continued, with police in multiple countries following up on new leads and sightings. Madeleine's face has become one of the most recognized in the world, a constant reminder of the child who vanished and the questions that remain unanswered. The case has inspired changes in how missing children are reported and investigated, but it has also highlighted the challenges and frustrations that come with such a high-profile mystery. For the McCann family, every day is a reminder of what was lost and what might still be found. Their resilience in the face of unimaginable pain has inspired many, but the burden of not knowing is a heavy one. Supporters around the world continue to hold vigils, light candles, and share messages of hope. The case has touched the hearts of millions, uniting people in a shared desire for answers and justice. Yet, the passage of time has also brought frustration and fatigue, as each new lead seems to fade into the background, leaving only more questions. The disappearance of Madeleine McCann remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of our time. Was she kidnapped by a stranger, taken far from home in the dead of night? Did something else happen, something that has yet to be uncovered by even the most determined investigators? Or is there a deeper secret hidden beneath layers of speculation and rumor that no one has managed to bring to light? As the years go by, the world continues to watch, to hope, and to wonder if the truth will ever be revealed. The search for Madeleine is not just a search for a missing child. It is a search for answers, for justice, and for closure in a story that has touched the hearts of millions. If this mystery caught your attention, subscribe for more real-life, unsolved cases. Hit the like button and tell me in the comments, should the next video be about the John Benet Ramsey case or the MH370 flight mystery?